What's up guys, it's Brody from 533 and today we're going to be continuing the build series on all the frames we sell here at 533. Today's build guide is going to be on the MidMount racing frame, one of our 5-inch frames we sell here of course. And what makes this frame different is that it has a top mounted battery, or a mid-mounted battery. That's where the name MidMount comes from. And what this does is it doesn't give you this pendulum effect where your underslung battery is just weighing around the entire flight and it's stuck to the frame. But yeah, let's get straight into building this frame and I will show you guys step by step. All right, so this is what you're going to get when you were given a mid-mount frame. You're going to get your carbon and hardware and your arm kit. What you will need to build this is really just a 2mm, and you're also going to be given 4 of these little hex nuts for your stack screws. And I'm also just have scissors to open the carbon and hardware. Yeah, let's jump straight into it. All right, now that you have everything unpackaged, you're gonna wanna set your screws apart and look at just all the kind of screws you have, and we'll go from there. All right, so once you have everything laid out, just like I do here, you're easily going to be able to tell what screws are which. So you know that these are your stack screws because they're silver, countersunk, and the longest screws that you're given. You know these are your arm screws because they're black and countersunk. And you know these are your compression screws because there's only 2 of them in the bag. You will know that these are your top plate screws because they are just button head. And you know these are your standoffs, and you won't actually be using these if you have these hex nuts right here. So we're gonna get 4 of these out. I just have a ton of them because I build a ton of frames. So you get 4 of those out. And we're going to start off by getting our mid plate. You'll know this is your mid plate because you're given the countersunk screw alignments on top. And you're going to flip it over and you're given a 20 by 20 stack mount, and you're going to get your stack screws out. And you're just going to put the stack screws in just like so. And you want to make sure that you do this step first. Now that you have them all 4 through, you will get your little hex nuts, or you will get these right here, and you will just thread them straight on. Right, now you have them all in your you're going to tighten down as much as possible because once you do this next step, you have to take everything apart. So tighten down as much as possible. All right, your next step is you're going to get your rigid mid pieces. They look just like this, and you're going to fit them on the bottom of the frame. You'll see these little holes right here. That's where they line up at. They should just go in like this. And then you're going to get your top plate. Now, this would normally be your bottom plate in any frame, but since this is a mid-mounted quad, this is technically going to be your top plate. And just fit it on just like so. You'll know this is the upside because it has these countersunk holes right here, and that's how you know it's your top. So your next step is you're going to set that down and you're going to get your arm screws out. These are your arm screws. Like we said, they're black, countersunk. That's how you know that they're your arm screws. Get those out, and then you're going to get one of your arms. And you'll notice that it has this little notch right here, and then that's going to go against the little rigid mid plate that we put in between these 2 plates. So you're just gonna put it in, just like this, in between the frame, and it's going to click into place, and then you just wanna line these holes. Get one of these black screws we just got out of the bag, and slide it straight there. Now, sometimes this is a little tough, so it's better off just to try and get it in there a little bit and then screw it the rest of the way through. That's what I would recommend if you struggle with that. Alright, now you have that opposite, so this one right here. Just like that. And these guys can all your sides. Alright, so now that you have all 4 of the arms on, I would recommend, if you did tighten those all the way down, I would recommend untightening them just a little bit. That way they're still movable, so you can get these compression screws in. Your compression screws are going to go here and here, and that's just your bag of 2 screws. These ones right here that are also countersunk. So I would get these out. Make sure those arm screws are loose, and line up the hole in the middle, and you're going to screw this in on both sides. And you can go ahead and tighten this one down all the way as soon as you're putting it in. That one tighten. Alright, so after a little bit of further looking into the quad, I found out that this one had actually came out with the wrong standoffs, and we will be making sure to watch out for that in all the mid mounts we send out. But these back 2 ones are going to be longer than the front 2 ones, so whenever you're putting in these standoffs, you're going to want to go ahead and put them in, and the long ones of course going in the back. So these are 23, and then the front ones in the back, which are, or in the front, which are 10, are going to go up here. And sometimes these can be a little hard to push in, but you can get one of your screws right here. You should have a bag of 4 little button head screws. Pull those out. Put that on your 2mm driver. Screw it into the standoff. If I can get it. If you screw it into the standoff, you can push into it, into the PLA. Just like that. Kind of screw it in. A little bit of force. And then unscrew it. And now you have them perfectly seated, and that's exactly how you get these standoffs in. And since we are going ahead and putting the standoffs in the PLA before we are putting any of this on, we're going to actually back out these 4 arm screws, not all the way, but just enough to where we can set this on and screw them back to the PLA. Alright, so now that you have your screws backed out, you're going to go ahead and line up the back, and you know that this is your back because this is where your zip tie goes. So that's your back, this is your front, and you know that this is your back because it has the long 23mm standoffs. So you're going to go ahead and line this up along with the front holes as well, and then you can go ahead and screw the arm screws up into the standoffs. Okay, now that you have your pod on, you're gonna go ahead and flip it upside down, and you're gonna wanna get these 4 screws out, little button head screws, and you're gonna screw this into the bottom of your TPU, so right here. Alright, now that you have those bottom 4 screws in, you are done with your frame. And this is going to be the mid-mount frame guide complete. That is what your frame should look like. And yeah. Alright guys, that is it for the mid-mount build video. I hope this video answered any questions or concerns you might have had about the frame. If it didn't, you can leave those in the comments. Me and Evan are checking those frequently to answer anything you guys might have to say. But yeah, if you want to see any of the content I post, check Foshi FPV on all socials. I'll be posting super frequently. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.